Dear viewers, Drishti IAS welcomes you to the new series of Simplified. Today's topic of discussion is Post-Independence, Democratization, Process, Challenges and Achievements. The dimensions we are going to cover are Introduction, Emergence of Electoral Politics, Setting up Institutional Aspects of the Democratic System, Dominance of Congress System, and lastly, the Opposition Parties. So moving on to the first dimension, that is Introduction. One of the most important achievements of India in years since independence is the adoption of democratic polity and adhering to it despite the odds. Now shifting towards the emergence of electoral politics. Provision of a universal adult franchise at the very outset was all the more remarkable given the prevailing challenges. Never in history was such an experiment undertaken. It is noteworthy that faced with such serious challenges, other leaders from different countries did not prefer democracy as a form of governance. Now let's discuss the setting up institutional aspects of democratic system. After the adoption of the Constitution on January 26, 1950, it was necessary to install the first democratically elected government of the country. The Election Commission of India was set up in January 1950 with a constitutional provision to conduct free and fair elections. India has adopted a universal adult franchisee model of democracy, where any person with prescribed conditions of age could vote without any form of discriminations. Preparing for the first general election was a huge exercise. No election on this scale had ever been conducted in the world before. Suitable conditions were created for free participation of opposition parties in elections, including Jan Sangh and Communist Party of India or CPI. Nehru vigorously campaigned for the Congress. There were many political parties which had participated in the country's first general elections and state assemblies elections in free India. Starting from the Indian National Congress to Socialist Party, Kisan Mazdoor Praja Party, Communist and Allies, Jan Sangh, Hindu Mahasabha, RRP, that is Ram Rajya Parishad, other local parties and independents. The communist performance was a big surprise and it emerged as the second largest group in the Lok Sabha. Princes and big landlords still wielded a great deal of influence in some parts of the country. Their party Ganatantra Parishad won 31 seats in Odisha Assembly. Now let's discuss the dominance of Congress system. The success of Congress as the dominant party in the electoral system has led many to term the initial years of the Republic as the Congress system. This was attributed to the electoral success of the Congress as well as the weakness of the opposition during these years. In the three general elections following independence, the Congress gained an overwhelming majority. It won 3 out of every 4 seats, even when it did not win half the total votes polled. In 1952, for example, the Congress obtained 45% of the total votes, but it managed to win 74% of the seats. Now lastly, let's discuss the opposition parties. Electoral participation of opposition parties played a key role in maintaining the democratic character of the system since its inception. The opposition parties offered a sustained and principled criticism of the practices and policies of the Congress party. By keeping democratic political alternatives alive, the opposition parties prevented the resentment within the system from turning into anti-democratic. Right for the first elections, the existence of several political parties such as the Bharatiya Jana Sangh, the Socialist Party, etc., was crucial for the development of a parliamentary democracy in India. Thus, it would be pertinent to discuss the major political parties that contributed to the democratic consolidation process in the initial years of the Republic. In this, first is Socialist Party. The foundation of the Socialist Party was laid before independence when some leaders within the Congress Party sought a more radical and egalitarian Congress. So they formed the Congress Socialist Party, that is CSP, in 1934. Jayaprakash Narayan, Ram Manohar Lohia, Achyut Patwardhan, Ashok Mehta, Acharya Narendra Dev, S.M. Joshi were stalwart leaders of the Socialist Party in its various incarnations. The Socialists believed in the ideology of democratic socialism, which distinguished them both from the Congress and the Communists. Socialist Party leaders criticized Congress for favoring capitalists and landlords and ignoring teeming masses like workers, peasants. Socialist Party was in a big dilemma when the Congress Party in 1955 declared its commitment to the socialist pattern of society. In such a scenario, their leader Ashok Mehta offered limited cooperation with the Congress. However, leaders such as Ram Manohar Lohia took a staunch anti-Congress line. In the contemporary times, the Samajwadi Party, the Rashtriya Janata Dal, that is RJD, Janata Dal United, Janata Dal Secular, trace their origins to the Socialist Party. Next is Bharatiya Jan Sangh or BJS. BJS was formed in 1951 by Shyama Prasad Mukherjee and its lineage could be traced back to the RSS, that is Rashtriya Swayam Sevak Sangh, and the Hindu Mahasabha before independence. The BJS emphasized the idea of one country, one culture and one nation and argued that the country would become modern, progressive and strong on the basis of Indian culture and traditions. The prominent leaders of BJS were Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, Deen Dayal Upadhyay and Balraj Madhok. Even though its performance in consecutive Lok Sabha elections remained unimpressive, the high point of its political journey was its merger in the Janata Party, and in the post-1977 Janata government, prominent figures of BJS such as Atal Bihari Vajpayee and Lal Krishna Advani served in the cabinet. In contemporary times, the Bharatiya Janata Party or BJP traces its roots to BJS. Next is the Communist Party of India. Taking inspiration from the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia, there emerged lots of communist groups advocating socialism as the solution to the problems affecting the nation in the 1920s. The communists worked mainly within the Congress fold, but they had separated themselves from the Congress when they supported the British in World War II. The communists believed in violent uprising as they thought transfer of power was not genuine. They later abandoned violent means and participated in general elections and emerged as the second largest opposition party. The party's support was more concentrated in Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal, Bihar and Kerala. Their stalwart leaders included A.K. Gopalan, S.A. Dang, E.M.S. Namboodiripad, P.C. Joshi, Ajay Ghosh and P. Sundarya. The CPI was split up in 1964 and the pro-China faction formed the CPI, that is Marxist. Now lastly, the Swatantra Party. The Swatantra Party was formed in August 1959 after the Nagpur resolution of the Congress, which called for land ceilings, takeover of food grain trade by the state. The party believed lesser involvement of the government in the economy. It opposed the development strategy of state intervention in the economy, central planning, nationalization and public sector. They opposed progressive tax regime, demanded dismantling of license Raj. It was critical of non-alignment policy and friendly relations of India with the Soviet Union and advocated closer ties with the USA. The industrialists and big landlords had supported this party. The stalwarts of the party were C. Rajgopalachari, K. M. Munshi, N. G. Ranga and Minnu Masani. So that's all for today. Stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks for watching.